Hey guys, welcome. It is Tuesday. It's a brand new day, a gorgeous day, a brand new episode of the Chad Prather Show. We are back. It has been a busy weekend. And I include yesterday being Monday as a part of that busy weekend. I was traveling all day. Take off to Washington, D.C. tomorrow. I got someplace I got to be, if you know what I'm talking about in Washington, D.C. You'll find out later on. Ooh, the suspense of the mystery. But today we're going to make fun of women. Yeah, I said it. I just a little blanket statement because I've said forever that men are stupid. We know that men are dumb, but women are crazy, and we're going to prove it to you today. Not all women. I will say, well, no, let me back up. Let's put the qualifier on there. All women have the potential to be crazy. Okay, it's just built into your estrogen. Okay, just like men, all men have the ability to be dumb because it's built into our testosterone. We're going to talk about some crazy examples today, and so you can send all of your hate mail to, I don't know, Party Foul Steve, who is, by the way, moving. I think he's moving back to Texas. So maybe that's a good thing. I don't know. We'll see. He might not want that cat out of the bag, but too late, Party Foul. You guys, I need you to do me a favor. I need you to check out our friends over at Patriot Mobile. I went over to their website this morning. I'm getting a new phone. And I went over to patriotmobile.com. You use their promo code CHAD. If you use promo code CHAD, that is their partner promo code. They will waive your first month. They will also give you some free activation over there when you let them know that you, if you want to call them on the phone, you can call them 972-PATRIOT. Or you just go to patriotmobile.com/Chad. Or when you get over there, you just use promo code CHAD. But check out our friends over at Patriot Mobile. They do some great things. If you want to make sure that your hard-earned money, when you pay your cell bill every single month, that it is not going to, one of those third-party, or one of those three big carriers that are going to be taking your money and sending it off to third-party political groups, people that fund abortions and, anti-free speech and these major communication companies, the folks that want to violate your rights. Every time you pay your cell bill, believe it or not, a portion of your bill goes to these things. So I want you to go to patriotmobile.com. They are going to defend your right to free speech. They're a company that defends the right to life. They defend your right to bear arms. They are going to take care of our first responders and our veterans and military heroes. So check them out, patriotmobile.com. Make sure that 100% of your cell phone bill, and it's for a fraction of the cost, is going to go to things that you value. Glenn and the gang over there do a phenomenal job. They're awesome. I love them. They're great friends. So switch over today. They make switching easy, and they use the same towers that the big three use, so you will never be without coverage. So check them out, patriotmobile.com/Chad. Use promo code Chad when you get over there. That'll save you a little money. All right, guys. Go ahead and hit that like button if you're watching on Rumble or you're watching over on YouTube, and then go to where podcasts are offered. I'm really trying to boost the numbers on the audio podcast. So do me a favor. I don't know if you're on Spotify or Apple or wherever you listen to podcasts, or maybe you've never listened to a podcast. Let me let you in, you Gen Xers up to boomers. They're free. They're free. You just jump on the platform. You can go to iHeart, anything. Search Chad Prather and let that sucker play. Let it be in the background. You know what'd be cool is if you put this show on during Thanksgiving, when your liberal Riri aunt and uncle come over, or the kids come home from college after being indoctrinated and brainwashed with a sociology professor who's never done anything outside of their academic bubble but push around papers and come up with weird socialist Marxist ideas. Put the Chad Prather on, put it on Alexa or whatever the Google Play. I don't know what you listen to in your home that's listening to you, but put it on there. And let's reprogram their minds. And so when we call them Riris and all that kind of stuff, they'll know who we're talking about. But go to where podcasts are offered and give us a 5-star review. You can give us a 5-star rating. That's what we deserve. You can give us a review. But play the audio. I want you to listen where podcasts are offered. And when I say play the audio, I mean it doesn't include a video. It's weird that I have to explain these things to some of you folks, but wow. Some of you guys still think that I've got 200 different Facebook accounts and I'm sending you messages and telling you how pretty your eyes are. I'm not. Those are scam accounts. And no, I haven't been hacked. Those are different accounts created by Nigerians that are trying to scam you out of your money. And people send me messages saying they got scammed. And I'm like, stop doing dumb things, okay? I shouldn't have to explain these things to you. This is the 21st century. We should all be included. Big old fat shout out to Hyenas Comedy Club, which is where I'm going to be this weekend, Friday and Saturday night, 4 shows, 2 nights, and then next week, Oklahoma City at Brickyard Comedy Club. Let's get right into it. Now, I want to talk about these things today and bring on America's favorite producer, Royce Chamberlain. Royce, Come back on here, buddy. You're home, aren't you?
What's up? I am home. Finally,
Man.
yes. Last time you saw me, I was in South Carolina, but I'm in South Carolina no more. I am back in Tampa.
Back in Tampa. And
Thankfully.
I'll be there. I'll be there next month, just in a couple of weeks. I'll be there. Wesley Chapel at Side Splitter. So watchchad.com where all the fun stuff is. I have a new T-shirt. We just put it out late last night, so let's call it today. It's at prathertees.com. As you all know, I'm on day 38 of our prayers. We were praying for a nation. We're still praying for a nation, but I'm praying for us. And we're doing it corporately. Everybody's still responding well to it. Tons and tons of people praying these prayers. And so I'm writing them out. Wrote this morning, usually about 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning, I'm writing these prayers out. And today was day 38. And we put a new T-shirt on prathertees.com because that's what I do. I put a T-shirt behind everything. Make America Pray Again. Make America Pray Again. Let's see if I've got a little image of that thing. I can hold it up here. It's a crappy image. I got to change the image. The image on the website, Royce, is not good, but that's what it looks like. Let's see if we can get that into focus right there. Bam, let's bring it back into focus. There it is. Make America
a little
Pray
better here.
Again. Yeah, Make America Pray Again. I like that shirt. That's good looking. Oh yeah,
It is.
I'm gonna wear that thing. I'm creating a
Yeah,
movement.
it reminds me of Top Gun for some reason.
Yeah, that's what
Doesn't
I'm talking
it?
about. I wanted to put some wings on it, I wanted
There
to
you
put
go,
some
yeah.
wings on it. And so that's what we did. Make America Pray Again. I say we like I'm schizophrenic. I did that on my computer last night. Created it, threw it up there. Make America Pray Again. I'm creating a movement. People are like, oh, Chad, you're a prayer warrior. Nah, I promise I'm not. I promise I'm not. But I'm putting these things together. It's been a great discipline for me, and I don't see any end in sight. I was just going to do 30 days to November 5th, but we're on day 38, so let's just keep rocking and rolling. I think we got to keep praying at least through the inauguration. We got to get Trump in there, Royce. And I
agreed.
saw, like for instance, I saw different people like my buddy Zeke Arkham on his post today on Twitter. He said, "Man, I'm still worried. Like I don't know how to relax. I'm afraid they're going to pull some kind of crazy scheme or whatever." And we are sort of seeing some things that are happening. Trump is, Trump has to name a lot of people to his administration. I mean, you're talking about anywhere from 10,000 to 20,000 people that are going to be taking up new positions in this administration. That's a lot of folks. And in the cabinet, so he's made some moves. I like that Tom Homan. Tom's an awesome dude. I've done events with Tom Homan. He is the new border czar. He will be in charge of that, and he is a no-nonsense guy. He doesn't pull any punches, and I love that old clip of – in fact, I was with him the day after he testified in front of Congress, and Ocasio-Cortez, AOC was really trying to pin him and grill him, and he just – well, you can see that moment when she's asking him questions when she knows she's lost. You can literally see the fear and the oops come over her face when that line of questioning goes wrong because Tom just doesn't play around. And then it looks like Marco Rubio is going to be the Secretary of State. I don't know how I feel about that yet. I think Rubio's come around. I think he's better than he once was. So we'll see. And again, I don't want to play identity politics. I'm interested to hear your opinion on this, Royce. He made Susan Wiles his chief of staff. That's the first female chief of staff. I don't care that she's female. I just want to know, is she competent and is she qualified? And she is.
Yeah.
Now you've got, this dictator who's deporting everybody, puts a Hispanic person in as chief of staff. Again, it's just interesting to see. I don't want to play the identity politics. Say, oh, well, we got a Hispanic or we got a female. I mean, a lot of people are doing that. What are your thoughts on that? Any opinion on that, Royce?
I think everything that he's been, and we've been seeing a lot of appointments happen over the weekend, but I think everything that I've seen, except for Rubio, Rubio to me is also questionable just because of his past with Trump and how he's spoken about Trump. But Vance was the same way, but Vance came around a little while ago. But Rubio, I think he's a good guy. I just think it's questionable. But Miss Susie, Insider Baseball a little bit, from what I've heard, is she's a bulldog, man. Like she seems like this sweet, nice lady, but when something needs to get done, she gets it done, no questions asked. And it's not irrelevant that she's the first woman chief of staff. But I agree to you. I don't think that it matters. It's how does she perform? Can she get the job done? And from what I've heard, I think she can. And she's done it already in Trump's campaign. I see no reason why she wouldn't work just as hard in the White House.
Yeah, she's a bulldog. She's very loyal to Trump, which is a good thing. She's run some great campaigns for people historically. She's a solid lady. But I will tell you, I think it matters to the degree that everybody out there on the left loves to call him a misogynist and a woman hater, and that kind of throws it back in their face. The difference between, let's say, her and a Kamala Harris or somebody like that is she's not a DEI hire. As you said, she's a qualified person for the job. It's not because she's female.
Yeah.
And the beauty is not a single person has been named to this administration so far that is a man pretending to be a woman. And that's cool to me. Like
that is good to see.
We don't have Admiral Richard Levine. We don't have a Sam Brenton taking care of our nuclear waste. We don't have to worry about anybody's luggage getting stolen from the baggage claim at the airport. But there were a couple of people who were up. I know Vivek Ramaswamy was up. His name was mentioned for Secretary of State. I did not want him in that position. I mean, again, who am I? What difference does it make? I just didn't. I think there's other places he could play a role. And it mentioned Rich Grinnell. I like Rich Grinnell, but no, I just didn't think that was the role there. I think that is a polarizing deal at this point. I mean, especially when diplomatically you have to deal with a lot of nations who would not be okay with Rich Grinnell, just on the basis of his sexuality preference, let's say. There's some other places. So Rubio has come around. He does represent a little bit of the old GOP, in my opinion. But I'll tell you, the good thing is at least some people around the world are looking at it and going, at least he didn't pick. Not every position is going to be some wild-eyed, MAGA crazed person. Maybe there is somebody with a little bit of that, Republican common sense or something. And I'm not saying that's how I see it. I'm saying that's how a lot of people around the world might see it. He made a fair and sensible pick. But we'll see. Lee Zeldin, head of EPA, I think is a great deal. Trump came out, said he was going to get rid of the Department of Education, put it back in the states. A lot of people have complained about that. So you people on the right, y'all hate education. Well, the Department of Education never educated a single soul. It is. I don't need bureaucrats educating my child. And they say, well, it's the people that are going to hurt the most are the minorities and the poor and impoverished. That's all the money's going to go to the. No, it's actually going to help the kids. There are going to be billions of dollars that are going to be released in the states. It's going to cause these places like Illinois and California and New York to get their crap together, and because then it's going to really expose how bad they've misused government federal funds in something they call education when they're not educating at all. And so I'm down for that. I've always said the Department of Education needs to be burned to the ground. I don't like the public school system anyway, and that's not a knock against educators because they're victims of the problem of that whole thing too. So Trump's making moves. We'll see what we can get pushed through. What we don't need is Mitch McConnell stepping in there and pushing through some of these guys that are going to be very anti-Trump. You got Rick Scott. I was just listening to him earlier on Megyn Kelly. I like Rick Scott. I've met Rick Scott. Had a beer with Rick Scott one time. And totally on accident, I just ran into the place there in Washington, D.C., and there was Rick Scott. And I was like, hey, you're Rick Scott. And he goes, I am Rick Scott. And I said, well, what's up, Rick Scott? And I don't know if Rick Scott had a beer or not, but I did. And so, John Cornyn is up. John Cornyn's the senator, of course, from Texas. Yep. If you ask anybody on the right in Texas, we don't like John Cornyn. John Cornyn is a no. Absolutely not. Rick Scott's not perfect, but we definitely need to push through Rick Scott. I know this is a little out of order here. Can we play that Anna Paulina Luna clip first?
Yeah.
I know you've got it. Let's play this. This was what she had to say about this.
The fact that these senators declined to come onto your show and Rick Scott was the only one here making the case to the American people, I think just goes to show that these people are going to indeed continue Mitch McConnell's direction and leadership for the Senate, which is simply unacceptable. We need strong leadership that won't repeat 2016 and block President Trump's agenda. That's why I've publicly come out to endorse Senator Scott. But remember, the American people can make their voices heard. The senators answer to you. So phone your senator and let them know that you don't want the same Mitch McConnell leadership. We don't want the revenge of the Sith Lord here in the Senate. And I think that Rick Scott has a chance at winning this thing.
Personally, I think all of our senators and congresswomen should be Maxim models. I think they should, especially if they're as smart as Anna Paulina is. I love her so much. She's a lovely human being in every way. Gracious human being. But I agree with her. I don't want John Thune. I don't want John Cornyn. I think Rick Scott is the choice there. So we'll see. And I don't like the fact that they're doing it under secret ballot tomorrow morning.
Yeah.
They're public servants. They work for us. We should see how people vote. I don't like that whole thing. Put up that first headline that you got there. Let's make fun of women. Let's get into this a little bit. Kamala Harris. Listen, she'll soon be out of the conversation. But let's make fun of her while we can. So there's an article here. And I heard this guy over the weekend. I was blown away by what he said. Kamala Harris's ex-communications director says Biden should resign in a wild scheme to make her the first female president, turn the tables on Trump. Royce, the only thing that I see that's a problem with that is that would make her number 47, and a lot of people have already bought shirts that say 45, 47.
Yeah. It might, if they do it, it could just be literally just to jab Trump, which would be stupid. But hey, I don't think it's going to happen personally.
No, and Joe Biden's not going to do that. And I don't know if you guys saw the clip. I'm sure many have at this point, where they had the Veterans Day. Happy Veterans Day, by the way, folks. Thank you to those who put on a uniform with a willingness to serve and sacrifice and give their lives for our liberty and freedom. God bless our veterans. But at the Veterans Day event, Kamala came out and Jill Biden completely snubbed her. I mean, totally gave her the cold shoulder, which I thought was indicative of what's going on. It was no mistake. It was no mistake whatsoever that Jill wore all red suit on Election Day. So there's no love lost there. They're trying to throw the old man under the bus in every way that they can. Biden's not going to, he's already given up enough. He's not going to do that. There's that clip. And Jill's like, Kamala and Doug are out there glad handing everybody, and Jill's having none of it. None of it. And speaking
won't even look at her.
Yeah, won't even do it. Won't even look at her. She's like, no, bitch. And then speaking of snubs, apparently something that is often traditional to do is to invite the incoming First Lady for tea at the White House. And Melania has ignored that invitation from Jill Biden and says, having none of it. It gets a little petty. I remember when the Clinton administration left the White House and George W. Bush was coming into office, the thing that they said they did was they took all of the W's off the computer keyboards. So they removed all the W's. It gets petty, and I hate all that crap, but here's where we are. But Kamala has spent all of this money. I mean, she raised 1.3 billion with a B. And the amazing thing is, and this is, I want to talk about this for a second, Royce, because this is fascinating to me. It's not just that she bought, she raised that much money, but she had to buy her friends. This is a woman who nobody likes. No one liked her to begin with. That's why she had such a poor approval rating and a 92% turnover rate with her staff. So she's out there buying friends, to the tune of $1 million or more a piece. Pop that little graph up. This is a tweet that shows you she is $20 million down, but she paid, Megan the Stallion. I guess that's the thing to do, $5 million. You're like Charlemagne thy God or whatever, Megan the Stallion. But I need to come up with Giga the Chad or something like that.
Giga. That's good.
Giga the Chad. We're gonna run with that. I'm gonna be Giga the Chad. $5 million to Megan the Stallion. $3 million to Lizzo. Lizzo was probably hungry. $1.8 million for Eminem. $1 million for Oprah. That's right. Harpo, which is that's crazy.
Yeah.
She paid six figures to get on that podcast that she was on that did absolutely no good. I mean, Joe Rogan would have had her on for free. For free.
Invited her on, too. A lot of places invited her on, and she refused to go.
Wouldn't
but
go.
She's paying for this.
So that tells you, like here's the thing. All right. So when I said I'm going to Washington D.C., I'm going to Washington D.C. because tomorrow night I'm on Tim Pool's show, and so I've been on Tim Pool's show before. Tim will fly me in and put me in a hotel. He actually has a ride waiting for me when I get to the airport because he doesn't live close to the airport. He's about an hour, out of D.C. in the middle of nowhere. His little Tim Pool compound out there. Yeah. And so, but I mean, he foots the bill for his guests to come in there and be on his show. If I were paying $1 million for Tim to have me on his show, or let's say $100,000, whatever it is, for Tim to have me on his show, I would make sure that he doesn't embarrass me. I would make sure he doesn't ask me any hard questions. I would make sure that we had talking points, we had bullet points. This thing was not going to go off script. It was not, because I paid for this. I mean, like I wouldn't put a commercial out that I didn't approve. I mean, how many times we see these political commercials and say, I'm Donald Trump and I approve this message. We see that all the time because they've approved, legally they had to approve the message if it was part of their campaign. So this tells me that nothing she did in the campaign was legitimately her. So the idea of her being a puppet is 100% completely accurate. She paid for her friends. She bought celebrities to endorse her. I know for a fact, Glenn Beck, my friend Glenn Beck, has paid exorbitant sums of money to be able to go to where Donald Trump is in order to interview him and have him on his show and others. He paid the money to do it, not the other way around. I mean, I promise you, Donald Trump didn't pay any money to go on anybody's show, whether it was, an appearance with Jake Paul or whatever those big podcasts are. I mean, he didn't.
They're all young cultural dudes or people as well, where these, celebrities who are obviously paid by the deep state are coming out. Like, who cares that Eminem says you should vote for Kamala Harris? Eminem is not someone that are at least I don't look up to as someone to take advice from or listen to on a regular basis. Trump was going on people like Aiden Ross, Logan Paul. I grew up watching Logan Paul videos because I'm young, right? Yeah. I grew up watching that stuff. So when I hear Trump is on Logan Paul, it works for me, right? Because that's someone that I admire. I've listened to Eminem music. I don't care what Eminem has to say, right? Say Joe Rogan. I think Joe Rogan's great. People go to listen to what he has to say. If Joe Rogan was just a fighter and that's all he ever did, I wouldn't give a crap about his opinion on politics. They did it all wrong. And the fact that Kamala was invited to go on things like that, the only thing that she did remotely along those lines is the Call Her Daddy podcast, which they paid for to build a set in a hotel room because she refused to go where that podcast was. They had to fly to DC to do it. It's the worst. It is. Here's the crazy part. Trump probably did the best campaign we've ever seen, presidential campaign, right? Masterclass. In parallel, Kamala did the worst thing you can possibly do in this campaign, which is not be able to talk. Everything's scripted, can't go off the teleprompter, and everything that you're doing is paid for and bought. Yeah. And none of it worked. It is the worst campaign we've ever seen versus the greatest campaign. Quite honestly, I'm shocked that she got 71 million votes, almost 72. Because you'll see tweets. I don't know if you probably have seen it, but Joe Biden was projected, Trump against Joe Biden, Trump was projected to get 400 electoral college votes. Insane. How they prop that up for Kamala, I don't know, but it is the worst thing I've ever seen, her strategy. It did not work for the younger generation, which is what they were trying to do. Did not work at all.
Well, they think people are stupid. They think people are stupid. And they think that folks are just going to roll over because some washed up has-been celebrity comes out on stage and says, here you go. The black community saw through it. Black men especially saw through it. Hispanic men especially saw through it. Gen Z, to a large part, saw through the smoke and mirrors. People aren't that stupid. They've tried to trust that they've dumbed everybody down, but not everybody's dumbed down. We see, and we're going to get into this because we're going to make fun of women. We're going to say women are crazy, and we're going to get into that in a little while. They think that everybody are these TikTok Riris that are having their meltdowns. They think that that is the general population of America, but it is not. It's not. So it was the best campaign, as you said. It was the best campaign opposed to the worst campaign, because what Kamala did, and now she finishes $20 million in debt, and they're actually. I mean, she was going to run the country like that. I mean, you can't just buy influence. You can't just say, oh, I'm going to Saudi Arabia, so let's buy off the Saudi prince so he'll ask me all the right questions or we'll communicate. Or if I'm in negotiations with Vladimir Putin, you don't get to put note cards out there about how he's going to respond. But again, this is the way these people think, that they can just buy their way through all of this. And it didn't work for the last 4 years. Our country is in shambles because of it. Sarah Gonzalez texted me the other day. She said, all this list of stuff that's happening just in the 72 hours after Trump was elected, all these things that are sort of course correcting in our world because of Trump's win. She goes, has this ever happened before in history? And I said, well, I don't think it has to this degree. Maybe whenever Reagan was elected over Jimmy Carter in that landslide, because Iran immediately cooperated and released the Iran hostages. And so, but this is mind blowing in terms of what's happening. And I told her, I said, but the thing to look at is this shows you how bad the world needed a correction. It was like, it's like when you're gasping for air underwater and there's nothing to be had, and you come up for air and it's like you have to breathe. I mean, you're just starving for air. I think the world was literally starving for air. And this crap administration that has been asleep at the wheel, everything, they put it on autopilot and was running on fumes and dementia. The world was begging for some substance again. And we're seeing a course correction. So, that's why I say we got to keep on praying and just believing God to get Trump in there, these right people in there. And I will say again, because I said it on the last show last week. I want to say again, because I said it all through the weekend. I'm so thankful Donald Trump did not get the presidency in 2020. In hindsight, I'm so thankful that this worked out the way it did, because Trump has now been put through the ringer. He has now seen exactly how evil these people are. He has been the victim of lawfare. They've come after him in every way. They've tried to assassinate him. They wanted him gone, off the scene, off the map, wiped out, non-existent. And he just didn't have the same potential of having people around him the way he does now. I mean, we're talking about captains of industry, captains of entertainment, captains of entrepreneurial businesses. We're talking about captains of media, whether it's Rogan or Tucker Carlson. We're talking about Dana White, Elon Musk, Vivek Ramaswamy. There's just people out there. And again, I'm not talking about Vivek, the politician. I'm talking about Vivek, the entrepreneur. These are people who understand business and have built some great things. You just wouldn't have this kind of stuff around him. He would have still had Mike Pence as a vice president. We would still be putting up with that. We would, we wouldn't have a J.D. Vance, who I think was the thing that really pushed it over the top for a lot of voters. That vice presidential debate. I boil it down to this, Royce. I think that this election was the tale of two debates. It was. If you want to go with Anna Paulina's Star Wars reference about Revenge of the Sith, I'll say this: Donald Trump, 2016. I'm sorry, Donald Trump with the Joe Biden, July 27th, the Joe Biden thing, he destroyed Biden. I mean, he destroyed the Death Star, right? And Joe had to drop out. Well, the empire struck back, and the Kamala Harris debate did not go that great because she got under his skin, right? And it wasn't that great as a debate. But then, J.D. Vance came in and was just a return of the Jedi. I mean, the young Skywalker just stepped up and slaughtered Tim Walz. And so it was really the tale of two debates. That first one, July 27th, that knocked Biden out, and then the last one with J.D. Walls. And so much of what J.D. Walls did, not only was he eloquent and he was good and he had his answers, but that weird look that he kept doing at the camera while he was looking at the clock, that was purely accidental, but it worked genius. I mean, it just made him an instant meme, and it won.
He was like
people
Jim Halpert
over.
from The Office.
It was, and it won people over, and he was totally not realizing he was doing it. So you just look at that, and you're like, there's only one way to describe that, and that was like providence of God kind of stuff. Like it was an accidental, beautiful thing that just happened, and it's weird. But that's what they said. And I loved it after that debate. So many people, even people on the left, were saying, they're trying to tell us that J.D. Vance is weird. He's the most normal person of everybody in the race. And so, anyway. But Kamala's in debt. She's trying to raise money now. Pop that up there. She's trying to raise money. Now, she's going to say it's for the Senate races and stuff like that, and the legal challenges in all these states. She says, this is the Harris Fight Fund. First and foremost, we want to acknowledge the fear and confusion and sadness many of you are feeling at this moment. For others, you may be looking for something meaningful and important to channel your emotions toward. If that's you, then we're asking you to make a donation to the Democratic Party today. She's talking about the U.S. Senate and House races that are either too close to call or, they got legal challenges. So they've got the Harris Fight Fund. Where do you think that money's going to go? Where do you think that money's going to go? It's going to be paying vendors and celebrities. And
it's crazy. It's crazy. They're working so hard to pay down this Democratic debt, yet we're trillions of dollars in debt, and they just keep sending more money to Ukraine and keep spending our money, endlessly spending our taxpayer money. But when they're in trouble, they got to take care of it. Just like we saw at the DNC, they put up big border walls around the DNC, didn't they?
Yeah.
Right. To keep out the unwanted people. But no, God forbid we do that for our country and protect our country. It's so like, I don't know. I don't know the word. It's unbelievable that they can try this hard for themselves.
And this is a perfect example of people who are accustomed to just printing money. So you can send hundreds of billions of dollars to Ukraine because, again, to them, money means nothing. Money means nothing. It's a black hole. It's when you're talking about trillions of dollars, that's white noise. Nobody can define what $1 trillion is. Nobody has a point of reference. The majority of people in the world don't have a point of reference for what $1 billion is. Most people don't know. They don't have a point of reference for what $1 million is. I mean, that's like that pipe dream. I'm going to be a millionaire. $1 million. I mean, most people will never see that, right? But these people, to them, cash was no big deal. They could just keep printing it. Party File Steve texted me this morning and said, "Do you think that it was because nobody else can use those donations?" And I said, "No, it just means they're idiots. They're morons. They're abject morons. They thought that they could get away with this and just keep printing money in some way, form, or fashion." And it was never going to run out, but it exposed the whole deal. Go back to that other clip, that other tweet there that you had, or the picture of Kamala there. I love her face. I miss her chuckle. I really do. I miss her laugh the most. I wish she was still around. Look how good she looks. Look at that. If you think that a picture doesn't make sound, but it does. You can hear that picture.
It echoes through my head.
Yeah, you can hear that picture right there. Look at the mouth on. No, I don't want to. I don't think I can handle it. Oh gosh, look at her, man. I'm gonna miss that laugh. And you know what's funny is nobody's gonna put her anywhere in politics. She's done. She's write a book, whatever. She's done. She's made all the money she's going to make. Nobody's ever going to put her in another political position because she's a loser. And MSNBC is not going to hire her because she's an idiot. And her speaking fees, are you serious? I can remember when George W. Bush was getting like $400,000 to go give a speech. And that's George W. Bush, and he's not a great speaker. But they were still paying him almost $500,000 for a speech. Her speaking fees, can you imagine her to sit up there and talk about the joy and how she feels about the little yellow school buses and broadband internet, and nobody's gonna and how joy and how the passage of time and how now is tomorrow, but tomorrow is the future, but when you're in tomorrow it will be now then. And I was like, what? So she's not gonna be, she's done.
Yeah,
it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. I just don't think she's gonna ever be relevant again. But there you go. We'll pay her pension for the rest of her life. Ooh, boy, howdy. Let's get into it, Royce. Let's get into it, Royce. I'm excited. I'm excited. Let me tell you why I'm excited. I keep every now and then I wake up to pee, and my first thing at 2:30 in the morning when I on my way to the bathroom, I carry my phone with me because I'm at that age where I might have a heart attack, and I've already pre-dialed 911.
Life alert.
Yeah, I've got a little. I don't want to. I've got my DNR bracelet on. It's so I'm walking in there and I'm like, yeah, we won this thing. We won this thing. Please God, don't let us screw it up. Don't let anything happen to Trump at this point. Because there's some crazies out there, man. I mean, I'm watching these videos. I was at the golf course the other day. I got to tell you this story. I was at the golf course the other day, and I'm sitting there. The golf course where I'm a member. Yes, I'm a member. It's the guy that owns it is very conservative, and there's always if you go into the clubhouse, there's big screens of sports on, usually golf or something like that. And then on the other smaller TVs, you got OAN, you've got Newsmax, you got Fox News. And so it's just nothing but conservative TV playing. And so I'm watching it. I'm sitting there at the bar, and this guy next to me, I'm watching TV, waiting on some people to show up. Guy sitting next to me, I can hear him kind of mumbling at the TV, and he's like, man, this is crazy. This is crazy. And he's like speaking positively about some of these moves that are happening. But I could tell pretty quick he's old head GOP, right? I could tell some of his stuff. He was not fully on board with Trump. And so I kind of pushed back a little bit, played devil's advocate with him. And he said, my wife doesn't like any of this. And I had to take a picture of my ballot to be able to show her who I voted for. And I said, what do you mean? He said, I had to take a picture of my ballot. And he pulls it up. He said, I had to be able to go home and prove to her that I did not vote for Trump. And I voted for Colin Allred, who was in the Senate race against Ted Cruz here in Texas. And I said, you're kidding me. And he goes, no, he's like, she would have lost her mind. Like, I would not have been able to come home. Now, do you know what that does to my toxic masculine alpha brain that says, you're telling me that you're married to him? I said, how long have you been married? It's 38 years. I said, you've hung in there with a woman for 38 years who will not let you come back to your own home, who threatens you, because you have to take a picture of your ballot to prove who you voted for. That is pure insanity, brother. And that right there, the nuts in the purse generation of men, I don't care what age they are, that has got to end. It's got to end. So now we have these women out there who are doing their whole 4B movement. You got to wear the bracelets. I saw this thing the other day. This woman, she's crying. And she's like, well, apparently we're making bracelets now to show that we're anti-Trump. And I'm watching this thing. She said, but my daughter and I were making bracelets, and we ran out of string. Now, this person's being serious, Royce. I mean, we ran out of string. And I didn't want to go to the store. I didn't want to be in public in a world where I knew that this many people voted for Trump. And I'm laughing my ass off.
Yeah.
Because these people are idiots. And so I'm sitting here and I'm listening to these people just have an absolute meltdown, and they're saying, well, we're not going to have sex. We're going to shave our heads. Some are saying we're going to put a mask on our face. And I'm thinking to myself, you guys are oppressing yourself and limiting your freedoms in order to fight somebody that potentially was going to oppress you and limit your freedoms. So you're literally turning yourselves into these handmaid tale women and identifying yourself as, let's call it what it is, retarded. You're really turning yourself into these mentally ill, insane people that need to be locked in a padded cell for a little while. And I'm like, I'm sitting here watching you guys torture yourselves. I've got an old a production assistant who traveled with me for a couple of seasons when I was on a cable television travel show. And I'm friends with her and her parents on social media. I've always loved them, thought they were great, but they are very anti-Trump. And so her father posted the other day, reposted a thing about how Trump was going to be, basically an apology. I'm so sorry if you're in the LGBTQ community, you're going to have to go through so much, and we're so sorry that now you're being treated as non-humans. And he reposted that and said some things. I can't believe anybody would vote for this much hate. And I said, first of all, in 2019, I commented on Facebook, and I wrestled, but I was bored driving down the road. I wrestled with even commenting. I said, in 2019, Donald Trump, he stood in front of the UN and called for the decriminalization of homosexuality globally. And he also appointed the first ever homosexual cabinet member in Rick Grinnell. And I'm going, please help me understand why these people are suddenly being victimized. And he said, well, yes, and I said, by the way, the Clintons and the Obamas were both opposed to gay marriage. So help me understand. And he said, well, Trump's waffled on the issue as well, but he rolled back LGBT rights and he made it so that transgenders couldn't serve in the military. And I couldn't let it go, Royce. I just couldn't let it go. I said, okay. I said, now, if by rolling back LGBT rights, you mean he made it where it was impossible for people to cut the genitals off of 13-year-olds or could not give them puberty blockers or hormone blockers, then I'm fine with that. And when you talk about what he did with transgenders in the military, they were literally joining the military because they could use federal funding to get a sex change. And I don't want to be in a foxhole or in conflict with a man who's on estrogen and trying to figure out if he's going to have his period that day. So for me, I'm okay with all of those things. So again, it all looks your hate accusations look good on the macro level, but when you get down into the specifics, it's not hate at all. It's called common sense. So, I've been accused all week long of being full of hate. I'm like, okay, I'm just telling you the truth. And they're like, that's not the truth. It's your opinion. Yeah, well, it's pretty much the truth. It's pretty much the freaking truth. But these women don't want to have sex with us. I wrestled with it. I'm okay with it now. I saw some of these girls who were threatening no sex. They don't want to get pregnant. I posted a girl yesterday who was crying, and she said she's going to have to postpone getting pregnant for 4 years because she just can't bring a baby into the world under Trump. I'm like, maybe you forgot he was president 2016 to 2020. Maybe you forgot. But
I'm okay with it because all these women that are doing this are liberal, and it just means less liberal women getting pregnant means less abortions. So it's kind of a win-win, really, if you look at it.
There's less abortions, and their whole thing is, I can't get an abortion, so I'm not going to get pregnant. It's like, holy shit, It's almost like that's what we've been saying. It's like that's what we've been telling you. Like, you don't have to have an abortion if you just don't get pregnant. So they keep saying, and again, let's use a little logic. Let's carry that deduction even further, Royce, because you make an incredible point there. They're saying, well, we're just not going to get pregnant because we can't have our abortions. Okay, but what happens in terms of rape and incest? Hasn't that always been your argument? So now you're basically admitting that the majority of these pregnancies are done because of either poor decisions or choices, and you're using abortion as a convenient method of birth control. So you just beat the hell out of your own argument. So apparently you girls do have the ability to keep your legs closed. Fascinating. And I love the fact that suddenly they're all understanding basic biology again.
True.
Radical. I've not seen a single man on TikTok saying, I can't get pregnant now. I mean, remember, for the last 3 years, we've had to talk about dudes getting uteruses and getting a baby put in them. I haven't seen a single man say, now I'm disappointed because now I can't get pregnant because then, Donald Trump's in office. And you know what? You're probably going to give birth to another Riri, and we're going to have to deal with them too. So whatever, just don't get pregnant. Thank you for that. I didn't want to have sex with you anyway. I had zero intention of having sex with you. Nothing sends me downhill in a spiraling non-erection than a liberal woman.
With shaved head, too.
With a shaved head. And so, yeah. That is, I'm okay with it. and I want you to identify yourself, put on the mask. It's just a matter of time until they're wearing the handmaids. And by the way, if you go to those costumes, the handmaid tale costumes, I posted this on my Instagram story the other day. It says down at the bottom, I circled it. Tim, my buddy, Tim runs his mouth. We all know Tim. Tim's old buddy. Tim, he circled it on his deal. It says the most purchased sizes are XXL and XXL in the handmade tale costume. So that means the big girls are buying them. Nobody wants to get into that rotundness either.
They should go ahead and just shave the eyebrows too and go full Palpatine.
Do it.
Full Palpatine, yeah.
Just come on out with it. Put the robes on, put the mask on. I've seen several people who are advocating for it, saying, the woman, I put it on my Twitter and Instagram, the woman digging the food out of her teeth while she's talking. And she's doing this whole time. I was like, is this woman on cocaine? She's picking food out of her teeth, and she's talking about how we just need to mask up. It's a safety measure anyway. And I'm like, do it. I saw somebody on Twitter today that said, you conservatives, you won, and you're still crying about everything. And I'm like, I've literally seen nothing of anybody in the MAGA movement out there crying. Now, we're laughing at you because this is pure entertainment, that you guys are filming yourselves screaming and yelling and just losing your ever-living mind. And then the audacity and the lack of self-awareness to post it for the world to consume it. I've been low before, Royce. I've been depressed. I've had anxiety. I've had worry. I've had things going on in my life. I've cried. As I can admit it as a man, I have cried. I've shed tears before over situations. And I can
But have you ever purposely done it on camera and then posted it to TikTok with sad music with the caption that says, I can't believe Trump won? No. You've never done that? Shocking.
I know.
Even in your lowest state, that's crazy.
Never did it. It never crossed my mind.
Because that's my first thought. As soon as Biden won, that was my first thought. I've got to go film myself crying right now. I've got to get it done, or else I'm missing out.
Put up the image of the prophecy being fulfilled. Put up the imagery. Here it is, right here. Here it is. The ballot dump. Oh, this is what we have realized now. There it is, folks. The prophecy came true. Follow at Royce Chamberlain. There's Royce's Twitter. Follow at Royce Chamberlain for more prophetic insight right there. There it is. Donnie T, that hair. It's a
Look
come
at that,
over,
man.
That's it. I mean, that's where the bullet grazed him too.
True.
That 2 a.m. Ballot dump, the bullet grazed him right at about 11 p.m. That view, deal on
it's
the chart.
perfect.
Yeah. It is perfect. Isn't that amazing?
The Trump hair.
That's amazing. Yeah.
Unbelievable. They thought they were going to do it again.
They tried.
But they fell short.
They tried. And the crazy thing about it is, and I keep holding out hope that somebody like Elon Musk will come up with some kind of technology or whatever to just make it literally impossible for them to do this kind of BS. But we'll see what happens. Elon has been at Mar-a-Lago, I think, pretty much every day since the election.
Feels like it.
And Trump now has robot dogs walking around the grounds at Mar-a-Lago, which is freaky to me. And Trump's won every swing state. Every single swing state went to Trump, which, again, is old news at this point in time. I think we're going to manage to hold on to the House by about 4 seats. And so the meltdown is going to continue. But let's get back to the sex thing, because that's what sells. And this is what gives us the numbers. This is what gives us the numbers, Royce, is talking about sex.
We're getting it. Share the video now. We're about to get into it. Tell all your friends.
Yeah. This is. I pull this one up because this is wild. Like, I thought, this is satire. This woman doesn't mean this, but I think she does. Listen to what she has to say. Play the clip.
Not sure why no one understands how I feel. You guys know that my husband turned Republican this term. I don't know why. I threw his ass out of the house. And I have to do more. I don't want to shave my head because that's going to hurt him. I'm going to look ugly. So I'm not doing that. I think I'm going to sleep with his friends. I think that's the only way. I think sleeping with his friends will do. What do you guys think? His liberal friends, of course. Not sure why.
His liberal friends. You can't even say liberal. His liberal friends, of course. Okay. You're a Long Island whore, is what we think. You've prostituted yourself out enough. I'm pretty sure you're nasty. And his liberal friends are probably gay. So you look at her. She's not an unattractive woman. I got a feeling she's probably been swinging with his friends already. But let me just tell you something. If my wife, I kicked him out of the house. Let me explain something to you. I may voluntarily leave the house, but you're not kicking me out of my house. That's a fact, Jack. And then the other thing is, you're not telling me how to vote. I'm not taking a picture of my ballot to be able to prove something to you. We're not doing that. We're not doing that. Let's get back to men being men. But I mean, this chick right here, bro, if my wife made a post like that saying, I'm just going to sleep with his friends, done. I mean, that's grounds for divorce. I mean, that's a biblical grounds for divorce right there. You just say 100%. You're going to go commit adultery, you're done. You've already got these evil machinations in your head to do something like that. So adios. On
top of that, I think if you're, which I don't know where down the road their morals disaligned, but she said this term, which makes you think, in another election, maybe he didn't. But if your morals do not align as a couple, maybe you shouldn't be together anyways, man. Like right. You've got to be in line with your spouse in order to make things work. And then if your first go-to when things aren't in line is I'm going to go sleep with your friends, she's psycho. This is crazy, psycho, liberal woman, as she would say.
I go back to it. It's crazy. Now I know that doesn't represent the majority of women. That's an extreme case. But yeah, that is crazy, unexplainable, eccentric. What's the word I'm looking for? It's just that behavior is just, I mean, it's off the charts. You've lost your freaking mind. I mean, we heard the story. I posted the story this morning about the guy who allegedly murdered. We have to say allegedly. He allegedly murdered his two kids, his two sons, and his partner because he said he could not see his family being in a Trump-led nation. And then he killed himself. So that's bloodshed on the media's hands, which has demonized Trump and all of the people who vote for Trump. These people will keep saying, oh, well, now we just need to get along. I have a problem with that. You have villainized me for all this time, called me all these things that I'm not. And now you want me just to, like after COVID was over, you want me to just forgive and forget and give you amnesty. I can't do that. You guys have to take responsibility. Mainstream media has to apologize. They have to come out and they've got to say, listen, we were wrong. We should have never said these things. Of course, I'm being facetious because they're never going to do that. They feel, the people the girls on The View, they feel fully justified in this type of rhetoric. But they have villainized people to the point of making them believe. I mean, and how many people are posting pictures now or videos now saying, my family, they're not coming to Thanksgiving. Or I saw one guy on there, as a former DNC worker. He said, I've disowned my aunt. She's crying. She's upset, but I can't allow fascists into my family. I mean, that type of stuff is just insanity on display. We got another clip. We got to roll out of here in a second. But play this next clip. This is what pure racism really looks like. Here's another crazy lady. Play it.
So your lawn maintenance is about to skyrocket because 90% of workers in the lawn maintenance industry, they come from Mexico. And whether they're here legally or not, Stephen Miller, who Trump's going to put in charge of his mass deportation project, is going to deport them. They're also going to deport people who are naturalized citizens. These are jobs that Americans will not do, okay? American families are not letting their young adults work in the lawn maintenance industry. These companies may be owned by Americans, but their employees are from Mexico. So not only will it be harder to find a company, the prices are going to double and triple. And this is going to affect a lot of other industries. It's going to affect our food supply and the housing industry, because I don't know if you know this, but there's not a lot of Americans lining up to haul cement in and out of buildings. So good luck.
Okay, first of all, my very, very good dear friend. Many of you at my live music shows have met him because he travels with us. Trevor Taylor, in the DFW, Texas area, has a lawn maintenance business. He's whiter than I am. He will pressure wash you. He'll even come put your Christmas lights up. So jump on my friends list on Facebook and find Trevor Taylor, call him up. And once the deportations start happening, you don't have to worry about buying a lawnmower. A white guy will still come and mow your lawn. That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life. Although I would like for you to give business to Trevor because he's fantastic. But this kind of logic is stupid. And by the way, my brother, my own flesh and blood in Augusta, Georgia, Tommy Meacham, Meacham Masonry. We have the same mother, and he's 10 years older than I am. And Meacham Masonry, if you want decorative brickwork, flat work, all the stuff they're rebuilding in the Central Savannah River area after Hurricane Helene, guess what he does? He's a brick mason, okay? There's a brick mason. And you know what? As far as I know, there's no Hispanics that work for him, although it wouldn't matter if they did. Who cares? I mean, to sit there and say that Americans don't do these jobs is asinine, untrue. It's an abject lie, and it just shows you how out of touch she is with her racist rhetoric to say that the only people who ever do manual labor jobs are Hispanics. That's just dumb. I'd be insulted if I was a Hispanic. I'm insulted as a white guy. I mean, it just, there are people who work hard in this country, work really hard. They get out there in 110-degree weather. They don't take days off. They work 6 to 7 days a week. They work long hours. They're working 65 hours a week, and they don't stop. They don't stop, man. They're always going. And they work hard to make ends meet. And so this kind of rhetoric, I mean, I'd love to know what kind of car she was sitting in when, with her bougie ass was making that video. And it's like, I want to know what she does for a living. I want to know what the 4B queen back there that was going to have sex, whore herself out in the neighborhood. I want to know what she does for a living. I want to know what all these women out there who wouldn't have a pot to piss in, honestly, if it wasn't for all of us toxic males. I want to know, because you know what? Let me tell you who ain't doing those manual labor jobs. It's women like that. So yeah, honey, maybe you are relying on certain other, because you don't do it. You don't do it. You didn't build a house. You've never put up a building. You've never rewired anything. You've never worked on a car. You never changed the oil. The lady, I guarantee you don't even pump the gas. You drive that thing down to E and then get in when your husband gets into it to drive off and realize he can't even get to the store because you didn't even pay attention to the gas tank. Because that's what women do, Royce. My opinion, not yours.
No, it's true.
I'm not throwing you under the bus. I'm just telling you, with 2 ex-wives, 2 ex-mother-in-laws, a mother, 3 daughters, and 3 female dogs. I promise you, I understand women. I understand that I don't understand them. I got so much estrogen in my life that I'm in cycle with them. And so I'm at a point now where I promise you, I've seen the trend. Stereotypes are built-in truth. And you girls out there, listen, I love you. God knows I love you. I'm not going to have sex with you. There's some that will.
There's some.
I promise you, there's some that will, honey. Out of 8.5 billion people on the planet, about 4.5 billion of that are girls. I promise you, they're out.
It's crazy. The other woman, not the lawnmower lady, but her solution was actually to go sleep with more people.
Yeah.
So there you go. I don't think that there'll be nobody left to sleep with, but yeah.
That's why I said she was sort of cute. Like I could put on a Harris Wall shirt and maybe go cruise the neighborhood, go to the HOA meeting and maybe pick up chicks. Go see where she's hanging out. Offer to carry her yoga mat. Oh, I love Pilates. My fat ass is all about Pilates, girl. Let's go. We could go sip lattes. We could stand in line at Starbucks. I could tell her
a trip to Target.
I could tell her my name is Moon Gypsy and I love blue hair dye. I could create a hell of a dating profile and say like, at night I like to scream at the sky, and during the day I sun my butthole. So there's, I promise you, bro, I could come up. Dude, if that's the deal, if these liberal.
You need to make a fake profile, super liberal, and just see what kind of hits you get.
Yeah.
Okay? Just go make a Tinder. I'll Photoshop you blue hair, whatever, maybe a little nose piercing.
We're gonna do
as liberal of a bio as you can, and we'll just see who clicks yes on that.
Yeah, we're gonna do it. I'm gonna be. My name is Moonlove Gypsy, and I like to sun my butthole. I drive a Subaru, and Black Lives Matter. So that's what we'll do. That's what we'll do. I think what, I'm gonna be screwing bald-headed chicks for a month. I'm taking them into the holidays, dude. I think I'm gonna finish this year strong.
Into the holidays.
I love it because Royce, after putting up with Graham Allen's squeaky clean personality, has to come over and put up with me.
This is great. It's hilarious. I can't say much, but it's hilarious.
No, I get it. No, let the hate mail come my way. Golly. Royce, here we are, dude. Here we are. It's a crazy world, man. It's a crazy world. Boy. All right, we got to jump off here. Royce, let me have the screen, brother. I love you. I'll holler at you when we get done here. Royce Chamberlain, everybody. Follow him on Twitter at Royce Chamberlain. Go check him out on Instagram as well. He's got some fun takes, and I appreciate him so much. All right, guys, listen, the world has gone crazy. I want you to be careful out there. I want you to keep your head on a swivel. It is a weird world we're living in, and I promise you, somebody said, is it going to be okay now that the election is over with? No, it's going to intensify. It's going to intensify as we get to January 20th. We're already seeing thousands of people marching in the streets. We're seeing the rhetoric is increasing by and large, and they're gaslighting conservatives exponentially, saying that we're the ones who are the problems. We're not. I mean, listen, we're going to make fun of you. We're going to laugh at you because that's what we do. You deserve a little bit of ridicule and mocking at this stage in the game. So we're going to do that because that's what we do. We actually have a sense of humor. You guys don't have one. And if you're a woman out there and you're tempted to, like, you feel so hopeless and helpless that you're going to shave your head, rethink it. Nobody's oppressing you. You can't name one single right that you have lost or will potentially lose in the next 4 years. Nobody's going to take your rights away. I promise, ladies, we value you. We love you. We honor you, protect you. We defend you. If you trip and fall down, we will be the first ones to come and help you up. We will throw our coat over the puddle so you can walk over it. I assure you, chivalry is not dead, but neither is a sense of humor. And while you may hate it when we laugh at things or find them to be funny, we really don't care. We really don't care. I was getting off a emceed an event over the weekend. A very well-known, legendary Texas country music singer was coming on stage. I had made a joke about Joe Biden as I was walking off the stage. Her tour manager stopped me and said, I didn't appreciate that. And I said, you didn't appreciate what? And I said, which part? And he goes, what you said about Joe Biden. And I looked at his little beady eyes and I said, let me tell you something, son. You're in Texas and I don't give a damn what you appreciate. I use stronger language than that, but I said, I don't care. Because the audacity of these people to think that, your opinion matters so much that we care about what offends you. We don't. We're going to live our lives. We want to be left alone. We're not going to infringe on your rights. Nobody is, because believe it or not, all of us in the, quote, as you say, the MAGA movement, we're just libertarian enough that we really don't care what you do as long as you don't harm anyone else. And we have no intention of harming you. So let it go, okay? Let it go. Take a deep breath, folks. Don't, either that or I'm going to start investing in clipper companies like Walls. It's ironic that Tim Walz was the vice presidential candidate, and the people who make the clippers, that's the Walls brand. And anyway, now they're shaving their heads, they're doing all this stuff. Listen, I'm at a point now. I'm not trying to run down a bunch of people to have sex with them anyway. So it's a win-win. It's a win-win. So you guys take care of yourselves. Mental health check time. All right, call a hotline. Do anything. Help yourselves. On behalf of Royce and the rest of us, all of my personalities here at the Chad Prather Show, I appreciate you guys so much. Follow us on Rumble, follow us on YouTube, follow us on all the places. Go to where podcasts are offered. That's the audio-only space. and listen to it. I don't care where it is, but let's see those numbers get pumped up, okay? Because we're coming into the new year, and this is a bad time for podcasts because everybody's busy as we get into the holidays. There's not a lot of time to tune in and check things out. But I hope you guys are enjoying the new format. We will be, we're working towards doing this on the daily in some form or fashion. So bear with us as we figure it all out and get our schedules aligned. But we're putting together, our sponsorship packages for next year, and trying to make sure that the folks that take out sponsorships with us are happy. And I'm serious. Trevor Taylor, get him to come hang your Christmas lights there in the DFW area. My brother, Tommy, Meacham Masonry, if you're anywhere in the Augusta, Georgia area, call them up. They're backed up, though. They got a lot of work because you know what? They're the best. They're the best. And on behalf of Patriot Mobile, patriotmobile.com/Chad, use promo code Chad when you get over there. I love you guys so very, very much. And can't tell you how much I appreciate just what we're doing, having a good time. So in the meantime, take care of yourself. Share this when you can to family and friends. And we will see you later on. Love you. God bless you.